Boy, do I have an interesting video for you guys today. Now, as you know, we recently just got a pretty significant shotgun nerf to a lot of the spammy shotguns in Warzone. It was reduced damage by about 20% and some other little tiny changes here and there. After checking out the guns in-game, they're definitely weaker, but they're still pretty manageable in really close ranges. I think, like I said, they're more unforgiving out further distances, but they're still okay up close. But honestly, an SMG is still probably the best way to go. But as I was online checking out sim.gg, which great site by the way, check it out if you haven't, links below for that, I noticed on the page for the Origin 12 something seemed odd. So I went in and I checked out what I saw in game, and it was actually correct what I saw on the site, and I was kind of shocked that the Origin did in fact seem to get a bit of a massive stealth buff in the last update. I know, it's kind of bizarre, isn't it? The Origin getting a stealth buff out of all the guns. It's kind of strange, but I'm okay with it. And to be honest, I'm not entirely sure if this is unintentional. It very well might be unintentional. Who knows? It might get reverted, but I think it kind of works out, and you'll see why. But let's go ahead and get into what changed and then what my thoughts are on this whole situation, because it may actually shake up the shotgun meta, or maybe it won't change a thing. I'll let you guys decide. So I'm going to show you guys on screen. These were the ranges for the Origin 12 before. Now, as you can see, the max damage range was going out to about 4.1 meters, right? And then before the 300 health update, about 7.6, that was like your max 3-shot kill range. And then after the update, it basically went to a 4-shot kill up close and then about a 5-shot at that range. So what changed? Well, if you look at the new ranges, the Origin 12 in current state, you can see the max damage range went from 4.1 to 7.6. And then the next range, it goes 7.6 to 13.2 and yada yada. You'll see that the pattern here is that it seems like that first max damage range from before this update was basically cut or added in to the next one. So essentially, you get that 4-shot kill range out to 7.6 meters now instead of just 4.1. That's a pretty substantial little buff that it got. And then after that, it's going to take 5 shots and it's going to take, 72 damage per shot, right? So that comes out to about 18 damage per pellet. So like I said, that's a pretty substantial little buff that it got. And the reason I think it might be unintentional, because it looks like it's missing a damage range. Most shotguns have at least one more extra range like the Origin 12 had before, but that one got lumped into the first one. So it's just kind of weird, and I don't know, maybe it's going to get reverted, but let's talk about this a little bit more. Let's see what's kind of going on and compare it to like the Jak 12, for example. First off, what I know a lot of people are curious about is that time to kill, right? And that time to kill is going to be sitting for this 4-shot kill range at about 765 milliseconds. Now that's kind of middle of the road here, because a lot of other SMGs are killing about that same speed, if not a little bit quicker, I think, or a little bit slower, but generally this is kind of middle of the road, I would say, especially for shotguns, as you'll see. Now, this time to kill isn't anything amazing, because the Jak 12 in its max damage range kills at about 600 milliseconds. Street Sweeper with its reinforced heavy barrel is 549, and then the Gallo is 666 with its crazy barrel. But of course, the big thing here is that max damage range for the Origin extends now to 7.6 meters. So that means while the other guns are in their second damage range and are already taking an extra shot, the Origin 12 is still going to take only 4 shots to kill and out to 7.6 meters. So that's really good. That's actually pretty awesome. So even though it doesn't kill as quick, it still kills quick enough. It's a good middle of the road TTK, but then of course it's still going to be extending out to further than the other shotguns. That's kind of the real power here. Now, where it gets kind of bad with this gun is once it starts veering outside of that 4-shot kill range into the 5-shot kill range, so about 7.6 to 13.2, right? In that range, it's going to take an extra shot. And for the Origin, since it's got a slower fire rate than the other shotguns, at least with their good attachments, then it's going to take about 1 whole second, about 1.02 seconds, or 1020 milliseconds. And that's not amazing. It's really not that great. In all honesty, I would rather have the Jak 12 out at that range than I would the Origin. So even though it's got a great 5-shot kill range, it's just not ideal, and you're going to notice when you use it, it's going to feel like it takes a lot longer to kill. And the Jak 12 is still going to take almost as long. At that range, it's going to take about 800 to 1,000 milliseconds, which is still technically faster, but honestly, the Jak 12 is probably going to be easier to use at that range. So I would say at that range, I would use the Jak 12 over the Origin 12. And of course, the Street Sweeper and the Gallo, I won't really go into them too much, but they're not really going to push that same range. They're going to take a little bit longer to kill. But the Origin 12, I think from like 0 to 7 7 to 8 to 9 meters, that might be one of the best shotguns to use at this point, because even though the JAK 12 does technically kill faster, with the Origin 12 you have some really great perks to keep in mind. So from about 0 to 9 meters, the Origin in my opinion excels. It's got great movement speed, a respectable but not amazing time to kill, and a magazine, and of course sleight of hand is what you can use with it, so you have a really good reload speed. But once you leave that range, that max damage range, that 4-shot kill range, it starts to hurt a lot because your time to kill drops to basically a whole second. So it's a more well-rounded, in-your-face type of shotgun. If you're looking for a good time to kill, but you're not looking for that JAK 12 movement speed that's really sluggish, this is the way to go now. Before this update, where it was still a 4.1 max damage range, it really wasn't that amazing. I think the JAK 12 was still really the clear-cut winner, but this one is pretty good now, and I would say this is a well-rounded one to use. The JAK's time to kill is faster. It's going to kill faster, but it's slower, and in the JAK's second range, it technically kills slower than the Origin, because the Origin, like I said, is still in its massive first damage range, its 4-shot range basically, where the JAK is now taking 1 more shot to kill. But outside of that, the JAK excels in my opinion. As for the Cold War shotguns, they lack a lot of versatility, despite having good movement speed and a great time to kill with the reinforced heavy barrels that help the fire rate. And the big thing here is the limited mag size, because now people are going to take more shots to kill and you're going to spend even more time reloading. So now the JAK and the Origin, in my opinion, are even better options for more well-rounded CQB fights and setups. This is a really strange buff to the Origin 12, and to be honest, I don't know. I can't say for sure that it's going to stay this way, and I'm almost kind of hesitant to bring this to attention because I feel like it's unintentional and it's just going to get reverted back to how it was. And if it does, I'll be a little sad because I feel like it's a lot weaker in its former state. And now with this 4-shot kill range, I think that the Origin now has sort of a selling point. I think this makes it stronger, but it's not going to be like blatantly overpowered. It's not like a Kimbo double barrel overpowered and broken, right? It's more balanced, it's more of a menace up close, but once you hit past that max damage range, it's just not a good choice to have. I would rather have the JAK 12, like I said. It's still going to be able to kill, right? And if you have 25 rounds or 12, you know, you're still going to get the job done. And the Origin, the thing about that one is it's still going to have great mobility, and it has a magazine, right? Unlike the Gallo and the Street Sweeper. So you can reload it really quick and use sleight of hand on it. So honestly, it's not as great as the JAK 12 overall because I think it lacks a lot of the stopping power, but it has that great 4-shot kill range. So I think up close and in your face, this is probably the most well-rounded of all of the shotguns now. This is probably the go-to for kind of a solid CQB class. It's not going to be as crazy as the JAK 12 with its time to kill and all that kind of stuff, but it's a trade-off you got to make. So as I think before this update, the JAK 12 was kind of sitting head and shoulders above the other shotguns. Now I think the Origin 12 is just a sliver below the JAK 12. I think it's more well-rounded, but the JAK 12 is still kind of a menace, and most people will still probably gravitate towards it because of the ease of use. I mean, it's a spammy shotgun, so come on, it's not that hard. But yeah, so now what do I think the best class is to run? Well, this is the one that I've been using, and I've been having a great time with it. So if you use the 5mm laser, you get that nice tight hip fire spread, plus a great sprint to fire speed. Then we have no stock. Then I'm going to run the precision barrel, since you do get some range. It's not as much as the impaler barrel, but we're not losing any mobility. So we still get a great 4-shot kill range, but we're also not losing any movement speed or aim down sight speed. Then I'm going to use the 12-round mag because I think 12 is a well-rounded number to have. 8 is possible with sleight of hand. I think it's going to be okay in like duos or singles or, you know, solos. But once you start getting into trios and quads, then I think you want to use a 12 round. Even though you do lose a little bit of mobility, it's still not that bad, right? And then for the last thing I like to use, that is going to be sleight of hand. This is a sort of a solid, well-rounded, great mobility, good time to kill. This is a great class to use, right? I think this is a good way to go. You could go for the impaler barrel too. It's up to you, right? It's not like with these shotguns, you're kind of like one is the clear-cut winner, right? This is just sort of a well-rounded class that I think would work well for a lot of different people. So this is the one I gravitate towards for a good balance of everything. But if you want to go balls to the wall, and I mean balls to the wall, use the impaler, the full choke, 5mm laser, no stock, and the 25-round drum mag. This is just another satisfying and hilarious class to use. Having the 25-round drum mag is so fun, and having the impaler with the full choke makes your spread so tight you can push engagements a little bit further, but you still want to stay in that 8-meter range. But this one, for the 4-shot kill range, you're looking at about 9 meters. So that max damage range is about 9 meters. This thing is a beast. It is pretty nasty. This buff made this gun a lot stronger, and it's definitely going to be on people's radars now. I'm not saying that it's the strongest shotgun. I think it's a contender for it, but I think the JAK-12 might still be a little bit stronger in some cases. But if you're looking for overall more of a balanced shotgun class, this is the one to go to now. This is definitely the top pick for most balanced. The JAK-12 is still a little too slow in terms of the movement speed and stuff like that, and it's a little bit easier to use, but this one, so satisfying. I know a lot of people have the Origin 12 in their hearts, and then they're also kind of scarred from it from when it used to be like a 2-shot kill, which is kind of funny. But guys, that is just about going to do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, I don't think this gun is necessarily overpowered or broken or anything like that. I think it's strong and where it needs to be. Maybe it could be toned down a little bit in terms of the range, but I think it's in a pretty good spot, honestly, and it's just so much fun. I don't know. But let me know what you guys think about it, and let me know what you think about this weird stealth buff. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.